All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our conversation today on reimagining sports engagement and the role of AI and interactive technologies. My name is Mandy Rutledge, and I'm Managing Director of Sports, Media, and Entertainment at Microsoft. And I'm thrilled to explore more about how AI and tech is revolutionizing the way that we engage with sport. I'm honored to be joined today by Andy Etches, who is co-founder and director of sport at Rezzil, and Aliamiri, who is the head of engineering, data, and AI at Major League Soccer. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. I'll start by just saying that having fans isn't just about filling seats anymore. It's a privilege that comes with a built-in engagement package, and that package is really getting more complex every day. I'll start by saying, let me try to blow your mind with some interesting data. By the year 2030, AI in sports will actually be nearly a $20 billion market. Today, 60% of marketing specialists are using AI to predict fan behavior and needs. What's perhaps the most interesting, at least in my mind, is that fan expectations are changing, and the desire for that next generation experience is just skyrocketed. And that adds up to interesting opportunity in our business. So, Andy, maybe I can start with you. I know that Rezzil's vision is to enable everyone to increase their understanding, to their performance and the love of the sport. Maybe you could share a bit more about Rezzil and your journey and how you intend to do that.
Sure. Thank you, Mandy. So at Rezzil, we started our business in 2017. We were focused at the time on performance, helping athletes get better, helping them recover more efficiently from injuries, and helping young players who were coming through the system become the next great player. But we always saw this opportunity of bringing people at home close to sport as well, whether that's through going on a journey of becoming the next athlete, a kid dreaming in a bedroom that they're going to be a Premier League player or an NBA player, or just a fan sat at home consuming sport in a new way rather than just on the TV screen. We saw opportunities to bring people into the game themselves, directly on the field, either through immersive experiences on flat screens or in headsets. In recent years, we've gone further into that area. We launched a video game with the Premier League in December last year. It's going to go live fully in August 2025. It's a unique opportunity to actually bring data closer to fans and obviously the experience of becoming a Premier League player closer as well.
Rez, I'll come to you. It's an incredibly exciting time at Major League Soccer. I know you're kicking off the celebration of your 30th season. You have a new club in San Diego. FIFA World Cup is coming to the U.S., and there's a little bit of noise around this Messi guy. So undoubtedly, it is a really exciting time in your sport. I'd love to just hear more from you about what excites you most about this age of AI and how it has opportunity to impact soccer.
Yeah, thanks. As you mentioned, we are one of the fastest growing leagues, United States. And what you're alluding to is called Fandom 2.0 in my mind, and is digital. We're going out of 90 minutes of the game and being digital. So AI would play a huge role here, especially with the new technology that is emerging right now. We talk about personalization, fan engagement, and the power of new AI technology with agents is personalization is rewritten in a different form. Now, in traditional personalization, you have, hard-coded algorithms per personalization. With agents take actions. Now they can find what you're looking for. Maybe you're interested in video. They can make a call about, what stats you're looking for, and they're taking actions. It's a very different form of operation. So, what we are doing here is, backing our system with a lot of AI, horsepower, to engage fans. And that would surface into different forms. It can be chatbots, it can be personalization, but the core of it is this agentic AI, which is emerging, and it can do actions. That's what excites me about, and is a very different kind of form of like engagement, because with this kind of technology, it's extremely powerful and doable. This wasn't doable, I would say, even 2 years ago. So it's very exciting for me seeing that. And, as we are going through this, as the AI is advancing, what we are seeing here is like interactive storytelling with AI. We are going to see, digital human avatars, very realistic. I've seen demos where like, you can see a person talking to it, can be a player, that it's so real. You can ask about their question, about their life, their story. You can get the understanding of the players. So that's what very excites me a lot. And these are technologies that are advancing like exponentially, right? So 6 months from now, it's going to be 100 times better. So that's what excites me, and we want to bank on it, and we want to engage our fans, right? So, those are stuff that, gives me goosebumps.
Gives me goosebumps too. I'm going to ask you more about that. Andy, we've talked a lot about the role of young adults and how kind of Gen Z is transforming the way that sports are consumed. I think the number is 90% of Gen Z are using social media to consume their sports content. And so, that inevitably leads to new opportunities in the way of things like immersion and virtual reality. I think I even heard you throw a stat in a meeting earlier today that you're specifically focused on 15-year-olds and younger as an underserved group. Maybe you could share your perspective there, and ultimately how you see both your technology as well as that generation kind of transforming how expectations and how sport will be consumed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Rez just used a really good word, and storytelling is exactly it. I think that this generation, the 15 and under in particular, their stories and the way that they consume sports, using Premier League soccer as an example, is completely different to what I grew up with. I grew up with Sky Sports and watching it on a linear broadcast, watching the highlights on Match of the Day in the evening, and maybe getting radio action. These days, kids will mostly the first touch point will be social media, TikTok, highlights. Occasionally they'll watch it with a parent, the actual game, but most of the time they're going to interact purely with these video highlights on TikTok. What we're trying to do is give these young fans, the opportunity to tell their own story about their own experience of the game in a brand new way. So not just a watch along, which is obviously something that everyone's familiar with these days, but we can actually use AI to take the data from the game. So all of the exact positional movement data, even down to where people's hands are, the players' hands are, and where the ball is at any moment in time, and let fans bring that data onto their headset on a Monday morning, and then participate in that match as if they were there, as if they were Mohamed Salah scoring one of his great goals, if they were a goalkeeper trying to save that goal, and tell the story about that match in their own way. And hopefully we're going to create millions and millions of micro influencers all over TikTok, creating videos of them interacting with real match highlights from a real game. Not just a video. This is me playing as my favorite player in my favorite stadium, changing the outcome of a game. Obviously you can't change it for real, but in their mind, they're going to be able to share their experience of it, and then hyper personalize it. So you'll have their own boots on, they might slightly change the avatars, all these different things that we can do to give them a feeling of empowerment and the feeling that they're part of this. Because for a lot of people, it's an unachievable dream to play in the Premier League or to play in the MLS. Or, we're trying to make that possible.
Absolutely. I find that so interesting. And I don't know, I'd love to take a run at a crazy play. It would not end well, but it would be funny, and I could share it with my social community. So
it's just one thing on
please.
that one of the starting points of this, we've got a lot of athlete investors, and when we brought them on, ex-Premier League players and current Premier League players, one of the real things that we got them excited about was people at home going, I could have scored that. And we're going to finally see if you could. This ball is coming at 80 miles an hour. And, someone at home is saying, I could have stopped that, or I could have got on the end of that. We'll find out. let's see if you actually could, because it is a lot faster on the pitch than it looks on TV.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm curious also to extend on that. Do you see a scenario, I like that you pointed out the micro influencer opportunity. Do you see a scenario, in the future where you're also integrating, perhaps merch opportunities or sponsorship opportunities, or for those folks who turn out to be micro influencers that might not stay so micro? I'd love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's obviously the open goals. Unfortunately, this wouldn't have been the case a few years ago. I'm a Manchester United fan, so it is unfortunate at the moment. But they were famous as being one of the first clubs to properly merchandise the non-traditional stuff. So every year they'd have another kit that would release in January around Chinese New Year. That kit it doesn't really sell that well, but it will do as a digital asset, giving people the chance to wear that, giving fans the chance to create their own Manchester United merchandise and potentially monetize that if we can get the clubs to agree to it, would be a fantastic opportunity. Again, brand new revenue streams that never existed before, brand new opportunities for everybody to really benefit. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And frankly, I think we're going to see virtual micro-influencers with chatbots.
Definitely.
Right? Like they can be so real that, they can be influencing and, acting as agents. A little bit thinking futuristic here, but.
We're talking about future, so it's
okay,
good.
Great.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Agreed. Rez, I'll come to you. I think Major League Soccer is generally known for your innovative approach, from the commissioner across the league, just in general, to enhancing your sport and your fan experience. I know you've recently launched your next gen app called Sidekick. We were very privileged to work with Major League Soccer on Sidekick, and it includes advanced AI functionality that just improves interactivity and personalization. So I'd love to just hear more from you about Sidekick, and more specifically, how you may be thinking about the future of leveraging it and its evolution, maybe some aspirations for what it might look like in the near term.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, MLS has been always in the forefront of innovation. In fact, VAR, which is virtual assistant referee, was developed in MLS, and it's been very powerful, system to, catching like handballs and everything. But we launched a next gen app, and Sidekick is a chatbot inside the app. So it's not the app itself. The app we call it an app platform because it's not just an app. It's powered by a lot of AI in the back end. So it's a platform. And part of the realization of the next gen app is a chatbot that is powered by LLMs, right? And the way we position this is you can go ask questions. A lot of people, want to see when is the next Miami's home game, for example, right? It's really quick to get that answer, right? Versus if you want to go browse, go to the schedules and figure out where's the home match. So very quick accessibility. They can ask questions about showing the highlights of the game, right? So it's a multimodal chatbot. It shows the match highlights, stats, scores, advanced stats. They have a lot of stats. For example, what was the speed of this player? How much they ran? So they're all there. Match schedules. And as we're evolving it's becoming more agentic. So for example, you can order tickets. You would say, when is next Miami's home game? It actually shows you right now the ticketing link. You can click on it, buy the ticket. You can click on it, watch it in Apple Season Pass. But we're morphing it into more agentic operation, incorporating merch. You can buy merch there. And most importantly, this chatbot has been very powerful in terms of being a voice of the fan. In a sense that we got so many intimate questions from the fans, which would never get in a normal situation, right? And that's very important for us because we can morph the product in a better way and customize it to the users, right? And eventually this AI chatbot, or I would call it backend system, would be basically be in most of the part of the app, right? So now it's a chatbot by itself, but it's going to power the personalization, the agenting stuff I was talking about. So we're very excited about it. It's going to evolve. It's the first in the market now, and it's been great partnership with Microsoft to build that and put it up and running. And so yeah, that's a little bit about Sidekick.
I love it. You said something earlier today, and I'm going to bring it up here because I found it to be so interesting. You know, in this, in the age of AI, as things are transforming so quickly, and I've heard feedback all over the show floor about, you know, the pace of innovation and the cost of the technology, and there are all these variables. And one of the things that I really respect about you, Rez, and Major League Soccer and your team is that you have very much a learn it all attitude, and you're agile, and you're making some bets, and you're, you know, getting out there and learning, rather than kind of waiting for something to stabilize, because I don't know when something stabilizes happens. So, you know, I'd love to get your thoughts about that, and just, you know, your perspective on the value that you get by kind of, you know, jumping in now and learning as you go, and how you process that kind of into your plans for the future.
Yeah. You know, a lot of success comes from being in the right time, right place. And I think when a new emergent technology comes out, if you catch it at the right time, you can ride it, right? So we're very, lean into, understanding what is coming out, and also working from user experience to the technology, right? So every time I see something from new feature from Copilot, you know, I reach out, I'm like, how can I use that, right? And I have a problem I want to solve. Can that solve our problem? And also this field is going really fast, you know, so one thing we do is making sure we align in terms of what is coming up next, you know, being ahead of the curve and leveraging that to, again, providing the best experience for the fans. So that's how we operate, and is a lean operation. And also we learn from our experience, right? You know, the experimentation, trying out, see what works, what doesn't work is very important, right? Because technology is changing so fast, you know, things going to be obsolete like in a couple of months. So we have to be aligned with it, and also making sure it works for the fans. So that's the most important part of our operation.
Great. Andy, I'd love your perspective also. Super agile, and your team as well. How do you think about kind of the pace, and how you keep up with the pace, and how you're experimenting? And I'd just love to have your perspective as well.
Yeah, luckily we are quite a small business. There's only 20 of us, so that gives us, you know, real flexibility of speed and dynamism to the point where sometimes we can even set the pace when we're talking to, especially when we're talking to performance organizations. You know, let's try this and see what happens. Let's get underneath the skin of this data and see what's in it. You know, there's things in basketball data, for example, that will give you a fairly accurate estimation of the chance of success of a shot, depending on the player's position of their elbow. Being able to interrogate that and show this to coaches is something that we've been trying to talk to teams about for quite a while now, and they're beginning to pick up on it. It's something that we think is, you know, the pace is only going to get faster and faster.
Both of you have spoken about data repeatedly, and obviously fan data is going to continue to grow as we get better at fan engagement. I'm interested from your perspective, Rez, like, what's the most important thing about when you're thinking about data and you're thinking about all these big, bold things that you want to do? Like, what shared experience maybe would you share with others who are thinking about maybe customer experience or other, you know, fan engagement as a broad topic? Any perspective on the priority of the data and how you think about that?
Yeah. You know, first thing when I joined MLS was, you know, building a fan data platform. That's the most important part. So we did a lot of like infrastructure platform working, because you want to put every fan's data in one place so you understand it. We call it Fan 360, you know, so it's essentially customer data platform. And, that's where all the personalization in terms of like historical data comes through. Also, we are leveraging behavioral data, right? How you're interacting with the app, where you're at, which article you're looking at. And eventually, like, if you put this all together, you're going to have a very comprehensive view of that user. Not just that user, but also connection of that users, right? As Annie was talking about, user content generation, right? Who is sharing what, who is consuming it, how people are linked together. So eventually this becomes a fan identity graph, right? And large language models, AI, is really good at it. It was impossible to dig into that, but it's possible now, right? So Creating fan data platform is important. Curating the data is important, and then acting upon it, and that's what it excites me about, because, with the new agentic AI workflows, you don't need to handcraft a lot of that, right? So you let the agent discover, and then you prompt it, you make it work. Of course, there's a lot of guardrails and stuff you have to put in place, but that's what I think is the future is, right? It used to be, a marketer, for example, would go and create a segment based on specific rules, right? Now you let the AI decide what segments you have, right? And it's a multi-dimensional data sets, right? It's not just one rule A, if A, B. So that's very powerful. And on top of that, you can actually prompt it. You can ask an AI agent. I was at Microsoft Fabric a couple of days ago. There's data agents. There is marketing agents. You can go talk and prompt the agents, find this kind of customers for me, do this kind of actions, and it does it for you, right? Of course, it's just starting, but I feel in a couple of years, that's where you're interacting with, the new marketing tools, the new data, analytics would be text. You just talk to the system. The same way with apps, sport apps. It's adaptive UX, right? So what happens here, you ask the app, I want this, I want that, and it basically morphs the UI to your personalization, right? So you might start with a blank slate, and then you start building your own app as you talk to the agent, right? So that's what's going to happen, I think, eventually with any app, right? Because the whole form of static apps, well designed from the beginning, is going away, because the AI can now design the UX for you. So it's very powerful stuff and exciting. And, so that's the direction we want to go.
The efficiencies blow my mind, and it is exciting. I agree. I'm going to ask you, Andy, I know you work with multiple sports, but since I know you're a football fan, I'll ask you to relay via your experience around the Premier League. If you look into your crystal ball and in maybe the not so distant future, just paint us a picture of ultimate fan engagement and, how you expect to see the experience change from where it is today. What would be the North Star that you're not just hoping to see, but that you're seeing evolve as a result of the work you're doing today?
I think, first of all, my answer might be different than the Premier League's answer. So
okay, that's fair.
I can't speak on their behalf.
That's fair. Disclaimer. Yeah.
I think there's definitely, there's going to be a move towards more personalization from a fan's perspective, more personalization of what they see. The Premier League are already doing a fairly good job of that with their application at the moment. I think where it becomes really interesting is in the broadcast area. So at the moment, again, you've got very traditional broadcasters who are in control of what the fans are seeing. Sky, who are the dominant broadcaster in the UK, are changing this at the moment. You are seeing influencers, appear on the mainstream channels, but I don't think that's enough either. I think that eventually you'll see perhaps very similar to what the NFL has done before, where you've had, Andy's Room, the Toy Story broadcast. Instead of it being Andy's Room, the Toy Story broadcast, and that going out as a simulcast, you will have individual feeds dependent on individual influencers. So KSI, Logan Paul, having their own version of of a single game that's personalized in whichever way their fan base wants to view it, whether that's as real-time avatar, realistic avatars, crazy avatars, all the players are goats, whatever it may be that their audience will engage in. I see that as being the future of broadcast, and it being powered by, AI technology, digital capability, and obviously, young fan immersion, because at the end of the day, that's what everybody's competing for at the moment. Everybody wants the next generation of fans, and to get them, you're going to have to talk to them. It's as simple as that.
I agree. And the hyper-personalized position and allowing me to consume content the way that I want to consume it, where I want to consume it. Super exciting stuff. Rez, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think what Andy mentioned, I think that's pretty much it. And, I talked about, hyper-personalization in a different way, with I call it AI or Gen AI personalization. Very different beast than traditional personalization, right? Because the system can give actions and take actions on your behalf. And it's very powerful. It used to be, okay, I'm presenting some personalized like content to you. But now it's like, do you want me to order this ticket for you? Do you want to order this merchant for you? And done. You're done. So
it's my
it's
dream.
going to be a very different
Save me those steps before I forget to take them and realize I forgot them. So thank you, Rez. I would be remiss if I didn't kind of close our conversation by just asking for your perspective on, you're both making big bets around fan engagement in the future, but also the technology platform and, the AI approach where you're choosing to align. So I'd love to have your perspective on, why should people think about partnering with Microsoft as you start to think about the space? Andy?
I think for us, the obvious reasons are that, it's embedded in almost everything that we do. It's so easy to operate. It's so easy to operate with in virtually any scenario that we'll come up against. I think with, things like Copilot, where we can actually start to interrogate, we have multiple sports data coming into us. I think 531 Premier League games, 1,000 NBA games, all these different things. All of this data is very, very difficult for an individual to be able to look into. You can ask Copilot, what happened in this game, or find me unusual spikes and things like that. And it's incredible.
Thank you, Rez.
Yeah. For us, it's been, we work like a startup, right? Microsoft is a behemoth, and working with Microsoft is like working within our startup. Very agile. We learn, and it's partnership, it's not just a transactional operation like, cloud services. So we see them as partners. We brainstorm together. We learn from experience. So that has been I think the highlight of our partnership. And, it's very powerful because we can tap into each other's experiences, right? And make the product better and win together. So that's been the highlight for Microsoft interaction.
Thank you. I love that. And learn from one another, like all the way around. So I want to say, thank you for your partnership, first of all. And also thank you for your time today and for joining me. I want to thank everybody out in the audience as well. We appreciate you taking the time to come, spend it with us. If you would like to see more, in terms of the way of experiences from Major League Soccer and from Rezzil, please go check out our sports activation area in our booth. I don't know. I had heard a rumor we might have time for a question or two.
Do.
Thank you. So if anyone has any questions for Major League Soccer, for Rez, or for Andy from Rezzil, happy to take one of those or two of those. No. My front row's like, stop calling me out right now. It's okay. I got you. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hope you've had a wonderful NAB so far, and wish you the best for a great show.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.